Normandy, 1944. Street fighting. The infantry sees a machine gun in the window and an anti-tank gun, AT gun, behind the gate. The tank cannot see this. Radios are overloaded, gestures are lost in the smoke, shouts cannot penetrate the armor. Seconds pass. The squad is pinned down under fire. Each target transfer is delayed. Casualties mount simply because of the delay between seeing and reporting. One sergeant realizes that direct voice communication is needed between the infantry and the tank commander, without intermediaries or cues. The solution must work immediately in this quarter. In 1943 to 1944, the Allies had a systemic problem: the interaction between tanks and infantry squads in the city. Tanks have radios, but not every infantry platoon does. Hand signals and flares are not visible in the dust and smoke. Attempts to shout to the crew through the stern end with the soldier climbing onto the armor under fire and quickly being taken out. The result? The tank fires by guesswork rather than at confirmed targets. The infantry lies under machine gun fire, the anti-tank gun crew manages to change position, and the pace of the assault slows down. Typical patches do not solve the problem. The liaison officer on the armor is the first to come under fire, and then the tank is silent again. The preliminary fire plan becomes obsolete after 30 seconds of contact. The old targets are empty, and the new ones are not yet covered. Gestures, slogans, and flags are not visible in the buildings. The crew's field of view is narrow, and the signal is lost. Waiting for the company commander with a radio is too late. The airwaves are jammed, and decisions come too late. Without a short direct channel between the infantry and the tank commander, the assault stalls. The sergeant makes a simple decision: to give the platoon a direct line to the tank commander. What does every platoon have at its disposal? A field telephone with a headset and a reel of field cable. Sherman tanks already have rear telephone communication points, and where there are none, units improvise. The plan of action without unnecessary equipment. The infantry takes cover at the corner of the block. The cable is run along the wall and curb, pressed down with bags, bricks, so that it is not cut by tracks and shrapnel. A telephone connection is connected to the rear of the tank. One dispatcher from the squad sits at the receiver. He speaks only to the point, short phrases without emotion. Where, what, how. The first use shows the difference in seconds. The tank is ready to turn into an empty courtyard because it seemed appropriate given the situation. The phone gives 3 clues in 15 seconds. Window on the left, second floor, machine gun. In the courtyard there is a loophole, 1 high explosive, then fragmentation. The passage is clear, but on the right there is an archway, smoke and control. 2 or 3 shots, and the firing point is suppressed. The turret does not swing around at random. The squad crosses the street without hesitation, and the area is quickly cleared. Why does this work better than radio in close combat? The channel from the infantry to the tank is dedicated and not clogged with general traffic. The voice goes directly to the decision-maker, the tank commander. There are no codes, no cues, no repeat over. The message is shorter and consistently a few seconds faster, enough to disrupt a machine gun's aimed fire or an anti-tank gun, AT gun, shot. To prevent the phone from turning into a scream, the sergeant introduces the Rule of 3. Where, direction and landmark. Left window, right door, yard behind the wall. What, type of threat. Machine gun, anti-tank gun, AT gun. Mortar, sniper. How, desired action. 1 high explosive, then fragmentation. Smoke and turn, short burst. On average, 2 to 3 phrases, 5 to 7 seconds. No stories, no emotions, only the target, type, action. The effect on the assault on the neighborhood is immediately apparent. Before, it takes 6 to 8 minutes to capture the intersection. Units get stuck under fire. Tanks use up their ammunition on suspected targets. After, the intersection is taken in 2 to 3 minutes. Firing points are suppressed more quickly. Losses are reduced. Ammunition is used on confirmed targets. The group works in stages. The tank suppresses, the infantry occupies, the telephone leads on to the next target. There are concerns. They are addressed by organization. The cable will be cut. So, run it along walls and curbs, cover it with sandbags, bricks, keep short spare jumpers. The infantry will start commanding the tank. No. The final yes-no decision rests with the tank commander. The dispatcher only announces where, what, how. All this is temporary, and that's fine. The tactical effect is needed today. They'll remove it because of regulations. First the battle, then the paperwork. When there is a result, regulations usually catch up with practice. The method scales quickly. The sergeant conducts a 10-minute briefing for the platoons. Who holds the pipe, how to formulate the goal, how to lay a backup cable route, how to transfer the line to the next group when the tank moves forward. A day later, neighboring companies copy the approach. A week later, it's already business as usual. In some units, standard telephone boxes are attached to the rear of the Shermans so that the infantry doesn't have to climb onto the armor under fire for a single word. Scenarios where the telephone gives maximum benefit. City, windows, arches, courtyards. The voice directs the gun precisely. Village, long streets that can be shot through. The infantry has a voice. The tank has a circular view. Forest edge and ravine. The infantry lies low. The tank stands higher. The pair covers the dead zones. Night and smoke. There are no visual signals at all. The voice is the only thing that works. Enemy counterattack. The phone gives an early call for fire. The tank meets the group immediately, without losing tens of seconds. According to field observations, the effect is the same in several battles. The time it takes to capture a block is reduced by 30 to 50%. The tank's ammunition is used on confirmed targets. There are fewer empty shots. Infantry losses fall due to the rapid suppression of machine guns and anti-tank guns, AT guns. The critical delay between seeing and saying disappears. Now it's a matter of seconds. It is easier for the battalion commander to maneuver companies because tanks can actually hear the infantry and quickly cover key locations. Why simple turned out to be stronger than complex. Complex communication systems have long chains and break down in narrow places. Here, there is zero distance between the observer and the weapon. No one treats the airwaves, they bypass them. It's a direct line from the eye to the barrel. Simplicity provides reliability under fire. Fewer links means fewer failures and errors. Behavior changes. The infantry stops sticking to the armor on the move and keeps a safer distance. The tank stops searching with its nose on the pavement. It receives confirmed targets by voice. The squad thinks in sectors because each sector can be quickly ordered with a short command. A disciplined vocabulary emerges. Without it, the phone is noise. With it, it is a tool. The limitations are clear. A phone cannot replace a tank's field of view or replace reconnaissance. Cables are consumables. They get torn, they get replaced. That's normal. A dispatcher is not a gunner. Their job is to communicate concisely and accurately. The tank commander is not an infantry operator. He prioritizes targets and is responsible for the safety of the vehicle. The right approach is to minimize delays and chaos, not to seek a magical victory without losses. The saved battalion case looks pragmatic. The plan. 3 companies with tanks take several blocks in a row. Without a telephone, the pace slowed down at every junction, crossroads, courtyards, arches, forks. Each pause resulted in new casualties and wasted ammunition. After the introduction of telephone communication, the junctions were closed in 2 to 3 minutes, the tanks hit confirmed targets, and the companies did not get stuck in a pocket. The battalion commander stopped dividing up reserves to plug holes and introduced them according to schedule, because the bottlenecks were closed quickly. In short, this is what saved the battalion. Not a miracle, but the elimination of the delay between seeing and firing. How to consolidate the decision in the unit. Introduce simple 3-step instructions for platoons. Issue marked cable reels with a memo on the label. In the combat order, specify in advance who is holding the phone and who is on standby. After the battle, spend 5 minutes analyzing. Which phrases are unnecessary, where the cable was cut? Which communication points at the rear are more convenient? Write up the results on one page and pass it on to neighboring companies. The more tanks and infantry groups work by phone, the more stable the pace of the assault. The conclusion is straightforward. A tank is stronger than any squad, but in a neighborhood without infantry communication, it is blind. One sergeant, one reel, one telephone, and the tank commander receives targets from those who can see them now. The assault time is reduced, unnecessary ammunition expenditure is eliminated, and the list of losses is reduced. The radio remains for general tasks, and this channel provides a view of specific windows, arches, and courtyards. Such simple solutions win street after street, and the entire operation is built from the streets that have been taken.